How's it going, everybody? I want to welcome you to a new episode of MADMAN Review. When it comes to precision, having a scope is pretty much a must. You can only get so accurate by eyeballing your target with an iron sight. You might be apprehensive about investing in an expensive scope, but think of it this way. If you buy a high-quality scope, even if it's pricey, the build quality is often so strong that it might outlive you. A solid piece of glass like that's expensive, but it pays for itself over time. And that's what we'll be looking at today. I'll give you the top 10 scopes in 2021 that are worth the money. They're incredibly popular, and I hope you find one of them that'll suit your needs. For those who are on a tight budget, worry not. I've also handpicked a few scopes that are on the more affordable side, although compromises will have to be made in the performance department, but we'll talk about that later in the video. As always, the links to these products are in the description below, so make sure to check that out. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Arken SH-4 Gen II. I'd say that this is the best deal I've ever seen so far for a precision scope. At this price, it's not a steal, it's robbery. Is it the best scope in the world? Not really, but it sure will give you a lot of value for the price. For such a low price, there are some drawbacks that you might consider, but first, let's talk about its appeals. Looking through the lens, you can find the classic Christmas tree milling reticle with hash references and dots for the wind down to 12 mils of elevation. The illumination is serviceable and the parallax dials down to roughly 20 yards. The turrets have 0.1 MRAD click values and the elevation turrets are zero-stopped with internal 35 mil adjustment. The windage is unstopped and has 14 mil adjustments. Each revolution has 8 mils of adjustment. What about the bad? Well, for one, the glass is subpar. There's peripheral distortion and flaring at every magnification level, even though the lens is multi-coated. The turrets feel tinny, but got those positive clicks. But these are some of the sacrifices Arken has to make to bring the price down. If you're concerned about durability, rest assured that the build quality is solid, and Arken also offers a lifetime warranty as well. Hawke Sidewinder 30 FFP. Another reasonably priced scope, the Hawke Sidewinder here is suitable for both rimfire and long-range sniping jobs. The size and weight are just right for many platforms such as hunting rifles. On the 30mm tube, we have the 56mm objective lens, which provides plenty of light. The parallax is on point as it focuses as close as 10 yards out to the horizon. The turrets track nicely, but the clicks are mushy, and the internal adjustments are narrow, with both turrets allowing only 20 MRAD of travel. Looking through the lens, the half-mil reticle, coupled with the 6 light settings, are beautifully designed. The downside here is that there's a lack of numeric designations. As it stands, you have 0.5 mil hashes on the axis, and the plus signs for wind holds, so you end up counting than shooting. Having numbers here would be very useful. The dials also don't have zero stop. Despite its flaws, the price is hard to beat. I'd consider this a great entry-level precision scope. It's also a great pick for those who need a scope that pulls double duty in the hunting and target practice. Primary Arms GLx. Immediately you can see that this scope has some aggressive styling, but this is more for function than looks. The dials and turrets have treads for easy use with a wet or gloved hand. You can quickly reset to your 0 by hitting the triangular buttons on the turrets. You'll enjoy tinkering with this scope as the turrets are turned to 0.1 mil clock values and 25 mil total adjustment range. A neat little feature here is that the button on the windage turret locks when you do a full rotation, which eliminates rotational confusion. Peering through the scope, you have the ACSS Apollo reticle from Primary Arms with bullet drop-down compensation and wind up to about 1,000 yards. The reticle has 10 light settings and allows for accurate shots in any light conditions. In terms of magnification, you get 4x to 16x. In terms of build quality, the glass is good, the parallax is cranked down to 16 yards, and the 50mm objective lens keeps the entire thing low profile. At this price, you're probably not going to find any better price to performance than this. Athlon Ares ETR UHD 3 to 18 by 50. The Athlon Ares does not exactly fit the bill as a precision scope. It's considered the jack of all trades here. Its versatility earns its place on this list as it performs well for target practice and hunting alike. The Eris sports a smooth and positive turret click, and the parallax control is nice and tight, allowing you to focus down to 10 yards. The glass is remarkable. Peering through it, you can see the image is nice and bright with good color and contrast. The best part is there are many configurations for the Eris. You can opt for either MOA or mil turret and choose from various reticle references. I'm certain you can tailor one for your needs. The Athlon Helos BTR Gen II. Similar to the Eris, the Athlon Helos BTR is a versatile little scope suitable for many platforms. There are a couple of differences between the two. The first is that the Helos appears to be designed for a wide variety of target games. The second is that the Helos is more affordable, at the price of the performance and feels. And you can tell when you start to play around with the turrets. They're not crisp, but serviceable nonetheless. The glass is good, although the image may get blurry at higher magnifications. The parallax goes down to 10 yards, so the scope is suitable for rimfire. I'll not discuss the reticle here because there are so many configurations to choose from, but whatever reticle you opt for, it should be perfectly visible regardless of magnification level. Overall, there's nothing groundbreaking about the Helos. However, it is a reliable scope at an affordable price. Nightforce ATACR 4-20x50. Those who are familiar with Nightforce scope will not find many new things here, although new additions are appreciated nonetheless. But if you're just hearing about them now, here are a couple of things to consider. The controls are probably the best that money can buy. You have hardened turrets with tactile and precision turns. The zero stop is the standard for the entire industry, and the parallax is pinned down to 12 yards. The 34mm tube allows for 80 MOA windage and 110 MOA elevation adjustment. The glass is solid and the scope performs well even in low light conditions. What's the downside? The price. It might be even more expensive than your gun, making it not an optimal choice for everyone. But if you want a scope that's reliable with top-notch glass, then this one will scratch that itch. Minox Long Range 5-25x56. This is Minox's first attempt at a first-rate precision scope, and the result is quite remarkable. You get a 34mm tube, wide magnification range, first plane milling reticle with the turrets tuned down to 0.1 MRAD values, pretty much what you'd expect from a high-end scope. The glass is among the best, the controls are nicely fluid, the tube allows for 28 mils of internal adjustment for the elevation dial, and the turrets turn with 0.1 mil click values. The parallax control is buttery smooth, the reticle is harsh and dot with 11 light settings. There are a few downsides, however. The reticle can be hard to spot on various backgrounds as it's quite faint. The turrets are zero-stopped, but figuring how to get it to work is going to be a sport in itself. Overall, this is a very solid scope with a simple and classic design. The Sightmark Latitude is another versatile piece for an affordable price, which puts it on the list. Let's get the basic features out of the way. You have the 34mm tube, a milling reticle in the first focal plane, parallax that screws down to 20 yards, and turrets tuned to 0.1 MRAD click values. The reticle has references in 0.5 mil increments on the elevation and windage axes and 0.25 mil windage dots, which should give you enough information when you peer through the glass. It also has green and red illumination, which should make it visible regardless of light level and background. Speaking of glass, it was a bit of a letdown. You might experience color inaccuracy and distortion. The elevation turret allows for 31 mils of internal adjustment and comes with zero stop. The windage dial gives 20 mils of turn, but does not have zero stop. Both turrets move 10 mils per revolution. They track nicely and match up with the reticle, although they're quite soft and less distinct. Overall, I believe that this is still a very solid entry-level precision scope, despite its drawbacks. Bushnell Elite Tactical Hunter Long-Range Hunting Scope. The Bushnell Elite is capable of doing double duty as a scope that's suitable for both target practice and hunting at long ranges. The feature that stands out is the first plane G2H milling reticle from GA Precision. Other than that, you get platter-sized turrets tuned to 0.1 mil values, buttery smooth magnification dial, and the elevation turret has 25 mils of total adjustment with 10 mils per revolution. The windage turret has 22 mils. The glass is clear and bright, so you shouldn't experience any distortion or flare. The circle/hash reticle is precise and quick, although it's non-illuminated. The center circle allows you to aim at the broadside of large game at long distances, while the 0.25 mil hashes are useful regardless of platform or load. What are the downsides? Under 8x magnification, the reticle references are difficult to work with, and the parallax doesn't focus closer than 50 yards. Despite this, it's still a nice all-rounder scope. Eotech Vudu 5-25 by 50. The Vudu comes with a 34mm tube, locking pull-to-turn elevation turret with a zero stop with over 34 mils of range, revolution indicator, a push-button illumination module, and parallax control. This is pretty much all you could ask for in a precision scope. The glass is excellent, although it might get grainy around the edges at high magnification. The 50mm objective lens gives ample visibility even in low light conditions. So what's holding this scope back? For one, the eye box is pretty tight, possibly because of the form factor. It's stubby, which gives space for night vision or thermal devices, but not everyone appreciates the shape of the scope. You have to line everything up just right to retain that perfect picture above 14x magnification. Other than the stingy eye box, this is a great scope for those who are running out of real estate on their rifles. And there you have it, guys. I'm sure you can find a scope that's right for you on this list. If you like this video, consider giving us a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the bell icon to be notified when a new video is rolled out. We'll see you in the next episode.